What drove you to be who you are today?
Ever since I was a little kid, I was born and raised in a small apartment in New York City. Immigrant parents. There was a show on every Sunday night, right before the Wonderful World of Disney. It was called Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. That show was like going to church for me. The co-host of that show was a gentleman named Jim Fowler. I saw him catch a jaguar with a net in the Amazon. I said, that's the guy I want to be. And I thought I would get into veterinary school, but my chemistry sucked. I realized that, and then I went into zoology and conservation, wildlife conservation. I'm going to tell you a really quick story. It's one of the most powerful stories of my life. My father was a carpenter. On the weekends, I'd go with him in the city and help him, and we're leaving the city at night. And I remember going by limousines parked in front of this big, beautiful building, red carpet, and I saw these people, tuxedos and these gowns, and I said, Bobby, what's going on there? I'll never forget, he said to me, he says, oh, that's the place where the famous and important people go. It was the Waldorf Astoria in New York. Fast forward 45 years. That guy, Jim Fowler, who I watched on television, he became one of my closest friends. I met him 38 years ago. He took me under his wing, and he became my big mentor. I got a call from him from New York. He goes, Ron, congratulations. Explorers Club is going to be giving you a conservation award. Couldn't believe it. I was like going crazy. But you're going to have to fly up to New York to get it. The awards ceremony was in the Grand Ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
Crazy.
I'll never forget, I walked out on stage with my childhood hero, Jim Fowler, next to me, giving me an award in the ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria, and I started crying. And Jim looked at me after we got off stage. He goes, Ron, I knew this award was important to you, but man, I didn't think it was that important to you. My dad had since passed away. I said, Jim, my dad told me when I was 7 or 8 years old that this was the hotel that the famous and important people went to. And there I was sitting on the stage in the Grand Ballroom with the man who, as a 6, 7-year-old kid, inspired me to do what I do today, presenting me with an award in this hotel that my dad said was for the famous and important people. It just hit me like a ton of bricks.
You just gave me goosebumps.
It was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me as far as my career goes. And I'll never forget it for as long as I live, because I felt my dad was smiling down on me.
A Day in Miami. Watch full episodes on YouTube and subscribe.